Pasha Paroh Y Net 7. Thank you for tuning. So today, like I always say, I'm really grateful for Facebook memories. You know, they seem to come at very timely moments in life, especially if you're in tune to receive signals and signs, etc. And we're going to talk about that today. I kind of work and title this like it's a continuation of like the duality, you know, and I'm gonna call this one like loosely spirit versus flesh, right? Let's take a look at this post. Well, in the memory there was a post from a little bonfire back in 2018. And I'm going to tell you why this is interesting and what connection it has to projection, duality, all wrapped up in one nice package for you. Okay? So we're going to get into that. Where I want to start at. So let's look at this image, okay? So what we have is we have me. I know it's a dark background, but it's me at night standing on the other side of a little bonfire, and I had a visitor. I keep something with me, you know what I'm saying? I keep something with me. You guys know Person, you guys know Seer, you guys know they my two rollies. You know what I'm saying? I got some more too, but that's the ones y'all know about. So the interesting thing is, out of all the milliseconds of time that this photo could have been captured, boom, you got, if you look, you can see a figure, you know, like flexing in the fire, right? So my people saw it after they took the photo for me. They're like, yo! And I was like, yeah, you know, I'm used to that. It's, you know, people around me, things around me, entities, etc., etc. I'm used to it. So this was one of the few times that it was captured in such a fashion, okay, where documented, so to speak, right? So it brought back some interesting memories, and we're going to talk about that here today on YNet 7. All right. So like, it really boils down to accepting the infinity of things. Okay? Once you accept the infinity of things, you realize that there's levels to shit. And each level is built upon prerequisites, right? Now, what it takes for one to understand may be different from what it takes another to understand, but they still had to go through their own journey to get there. I kind of was born. When I look back on life, I realized I was kind of born in tune. That's, you know, in tune, so to speak. That's why I always seemed odd. Some people, you know, the school system labeled me advanced or gifted. Some people call me a weirdo, you know? So I think that's why, like, when people more recently in life came to me with like idols, you know, whatever you want to call it, different entities, different fashion garments, different things that they hold and possess and worship themselves, I may have seemed to be slow or removed from the fact because I never needed them. I just had an understanding of the relationship that I have with the elements and energies around me, and I always just kind of built upon what I knew. So I take the time to learn about them, you know, to see what's what, because I like to learn about everything I can, so I would know about it, and then I can decide, you know, decipher my own information, so to speak, right? But we're going to talk about today why there's reasons that, this is actually going to tie into also part of why you have certain people that won't they're not going to cheer for you ever, right? But it's not because of what you think. It's because of who you are, and it causes a disbelief in themselves. If you go back and watch, what's up, Hood? If you go back and watch the projection videos that we've done on the channel, me and Trish, and then some of them by myself. And actually, if you go check out Trish's channel, Conversations from the School of Hard Knocks, she just had a guest on there last night, or the other day. I was watching it last night. Hone, and he's been a couple conversations on the page and some topics. He's pretty he has a pretty vision of things that may help you on a basic level get some understanding. Now, one of the things that he was saying in the video was that he goes and hey, what's up, Kia? So he goes and he was excited about how he goes into meditation now recently, and he can go for an hour or two, now, where he had to work his way up to that. And one of the things I thought about that as a reflection, I was thinking about it earlier today, and I was like, because when you're in tune to what you're trying to grow towards, right, the Most High or the universe, whatever you want to call it, whatever it is to you, will give you signs and signals that'll help you on your path, kind of like the expressway signs that tell you exit 55. You know what I mean? It's coming up 2 miles, and you're like, oh, okay, let me prepare. Let me start to work my way over because I need to get off here, or whatever it is for you, right? So when I was thinking about all this stuff, this flashed into my mind. I'm gonna tell you why this is important in a moment. So he was talking about how he goes into meditation for an hour or two, right? And I've realized today, I was sitting there thinking about it. I was like, what is it that what am I doing, that makes me say I don't need to do that for an hour or two, doing a self-assessment. And I was like, Posh, what you have is some other tools in your toolbox, such as your in-depth study and acceptance of the infinity of everything, right? So when you think about the infinity, see the little guy in the background, you gotta go deep into yourself, right? Go deep into yourself. And once you start to master acceptance of infinity, you take it and you don't just look at it as negative infinity to positive infinity, right? You also realize that infinity exists between the numbers 1 and the number 2 on the same numeral timeline, right? So people's minds go, ooh, super small number to super big number, that's infinity. But also it exists in between two finite points, like the number 1 and 2. In that space, there's also infinity. You got 1.0000000156943, right? You got 1.0000794444444, right? You got infinity between 1 and 2. So what I realized is that when you train yourself enough, right, with multiple different skills, you become more talented as a whole in what you're trying to accomplish, right? It becomes more like natural, more instinct. This is why you go to training. If you're doing tactical firearm training and shit, right? You go through those exercises so that in the split second where it counts, you're not sitting there putting 10 minutes of thought into what you need to do. You can naturally react or respond rather, right? So now let's take that back. So what I'm getting at is I learned about myself from watching that video. Like I said, check it out on her channel. And I said, you know what the difference is with me there? The infinity is, when you master infinity, you can go into yourself for 1 or 2 seconds. What seems like 1 or 2 seconds on the outside. And in reality, you can explore for hours on the inside in what seems like 1 or 2 seconds, because you're taking the 1 to 2 and you're finding the infinity in it. So that's why you can ask someone a question, for example, and they be like, you know what, this, and you know, where did they go for that moment? How long did they really go away, even though it only seemed like 1 or 2 seconds? You see what I'm saying? You got to know that about yourself. You have that power. You have that ability. You have to trust yourself. Okay? Because see, this is why when you ask certain people, well, what are they doing? How do they get there? What do they do? They can't really explain it because they don't know. And that's cool because, like I said, there's levels to this, to everything. And once you get to certain points where you study all this stuff, you can start to realize the spider web of how it all connects. Okay? So I think that's pretty cool, because then you can start to find the people around you that'll celebrate that element of you, instead of trying to like gaslight you, you know, put you down, tell you you're crazy, something's wrong with you, you know, all this other stuff that happens. Once you find the people that are on the same level, you'll all be able to celebrate each other. You know what I mean? How many times, I know you guys are very communicative, especially because this is the season that we're supposed to be broadcasting our frequencies turned the fuck up. You know what I'm saying? Because we're here for the conversion factor, to help, whether we realize it or not, everything that you're doing in life right now is to prepare the rest of the world for an ascension process. Okay? That's why you tuned into certain shit. And it may be new to you, it may be frightening. You know what I mean? But wait till you ask it to stop raining and it stops. You know, just like the Indians used to do a rain dance to bring the rain, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta know that you have that capability in you. So yeah, when people come, or get to the point where I'm learning new things about idols and stuff, I never really was into idols, because I just knew, like, naturally it was in me. I couldn't explain it to you back then. You know what I mean? Like early 20s and shit. I couldn't tell you the way I tell you now. But that's what happens. You start to ask yourself, well, how am I able to do this? Or what makes me do this when other people want to do this? And you got to be in tune to receive the information as the answer. Okay? It's called confirmation, is what I call it. I mean, you can call it whatever you may call it. Okay? So, but that's what happened with me. So as I opened up to things like the law of attraction, etymology, right? Which is very powerful. Invoking and evoking, equations over variables. You know, in other words, once you accept that you are the truth, now you can fine tune yourself. And once you fine tune yourself, you can start to see what you require from your environment around you to sustain that frequency that you're on. Okay? Once you go, hold on, where we at? Hold on, give me a second here. Let me make it make sense. Once you go deep inside yourself, all right, so was getting too good. Okay, so we're back. So once you go deep inside yourself, right, you'll start to actually you'll actually find the truth inside of you. Okay? And once you find the truth inside of you, all right, you can actually then say, I'm tuning into different levels of stuff. That's what it is. So once you feel like in that example, you feeling like you tuned into an hour or 2 hours of meditation, then you go ahead and you start to try and find the catalyst for that inside yourself, and that's what it is. So let's take a look at what we got going on here and today. So I posted this, and you know, I was asking the question of, hey, does anyone else have spirits that pop up, energies, angels, demons, whatever you want to call them, that pop up in your photos, right? So it was kind of cool because we had a conversation about it, a couple different people, and it brought up some great talking points. So here's the first one. And somebody said, hey, I took a picture at a hotel out in Annapolis, sent it to 3 different people, and they all asked who was the guy sitting in the chair behind me was, right? He was dressed in all white, lounging, clear as day, true story. Okay? So I said, hey, look, he was back there in your photo singing, "We are family. I got all my people with me," right? So I was like, that's dope. Thanks for sharing. Do you feel like he was one of your team or random? Do you work with that realm often? And the response was, I've had spirits come to me before, so it wasn't surprising. And I didn't look at him, or I did look at him as a good spirit. He was staring at me, taking a picture, looking directly at me. I didn't feel afraid. Stayed in the room another week after. LOL. Everybody, including the desk clerk, was freaked out, right? So this is what happens, okay? Let me flip this out real quick. So I said, LOL, that's what's up. Don't be afraid of the not good ones as well, okay? Because they are there for you as well. There are angels that do good and ones that do bad, just like there are demons with bad characteristics and demons with good characteristics. Once your mind and heart is right, you'll be able to process that and work with them in the realm and space, okay? It's kind of dope. So then I got a question, and I actually asked them to ask this question. They real cool people. They hit me up on the side and said, hey, what do you think about this? And I said, yo, go ahead over there and drop this in the actual comments so we can discuss this, because I like to give people an opportunity to learn. And when one person asks a question, what you know about questions is you had 60,000 other people that had the same question. They just didn't have the gut to ask you, so to speak. So she said, you don't think that is pareidolia, right? And I said, that's a good question. One, because pareidolia is like that interpretation factor of where you see objects or things and you interpret it when it maybe isn't what it really is, and all this stuff. So I said, that's a good question. And I was like, well, isn't everything interpretation? I spend much time showing how a word, right? A word that has a specific meaning or value, like etymology, for example. We bust that down all the time here. Y Net 7. Yet people explain away its truth. Why? Because they rather believe. The mind always justifies what it wants to believe. You got to remember that. That's why you're at that level where people are telling you, go with your heart, because your mind will mislead you, right? Even when you think you're, something in my eye here, even when you think you're going with your heart, sometimes it's really your mind all in your brain, telling you what you want to hear, so you go this way, right? Okay, so etymology. Yet some people always explain away the truth. That's not what it means today, and they got all these excuses on why they're going to give it a different value, a different meaning. So I've helped many with tarot and other energy experiences, through interpretation of energy. So if there's no such thing as coincidence, you got to ask yourself, do you see the figure flexing in the fire, right? Okay, so once you get to that point where you ask yourself, do you see it? Okay, so 2, if not, that's okay, because many miss signs all the time. Signs that have been trying to make themselves known. Plus, I put a lot of work in over the years, so I know who or what's with me. Someone less experienced may not be aware. And this is how you gotta look at it for yourself when people are coming at you asking these questions. You gotta know, and not her in particular, but that's why I had her ask the question in front of in the comments so that we could talk about it to help people that see learn. So when people are coming at you with these type of questions, you are confident in what you're doing and your abilities, you must know that you're talking to someone that's on a different level. Okay? Start there. And once you accept that they're on a different level, all right, you can actually have that conversation with them, give them the opportunity, but don't really judge them or anything. So I dropped the song Roots on there just as a little added self plug. Gotta do what you gotta do. You know what I mean? It's just why you do it, so you can, in moments like this, you can share this sort of stuff. So a lot of you guys have a lot of great insight on a lot of different things, and my recommendation to you would be to go ahead and produce content, and then encourage people to speak on it with you, so you can help share that light and wisdom with the masses. So the response I got was, yes, I can see a figure, but does that mean it's what you interpret it to mean? It's a great question, right? It's a great question. So like I said, keep in mind, people are learning, and as long as they're willing to learn, that's what's important, because we all had to learn too. You know what I mean? So they said, we have bonfires often and we see faces and things in it as well, which all people do, right? If the question is, are they being honest with themselves? And then two, do they have the prerequisites to know how to handle that situation or what to do with it in such a situation? All right, so I said, if we see the figure with its right arm flexing, are you ill with pareidolia, right? So if you see it, there's gonna be people that say there's something wrong with you. Remember the gaslighting song, must be something wrong with you, something wrong with you. So, or if you don't see it, are we then called ill for being delusional? See how the gaslighting works, so that everyone believes they right or they won. You know what I mean? That's the thing about it. So you gotta know, or else somebody will always be able to influence you what they want you to believe. You see what I'm saying? So then it goes in to say, well, no one is ill. She responds, no one is ill, and this is her being considerate of other people's emotions or feelings. I tell you in a moment, no, there's absolutely people that are ill like that. We gotta accept that. That's the truth. They are. There's some delusional people, and there's some people suffering from the other side of it too. So, but here we go. No one is ill. It's just what our eyes are programmed to see, which is true. Which is why you gotta admit to yourself and agree that there is an illness, because that illness or disorder is what's programming their eyes to be limited or only see certain amount. So when you look at the clouds, how many images do you see inside that same cloud? We all have spirits with us. Some make themselves known, some don't, some can see them, some can't, right? So if you feel the image has meaning, then okay. But it's not for me to decline what you are experiencing, she's saying, right? And I added a little bit in there. Let me see here, where we at? What was that? That was number, okay, cool. All right, so here we go. What we don't know, right, is my response. What we know is there are higher powers / vibrations. People call them ancestors, gods, devil, angels, demons, etc. So the question then becomes not what one believes, but what one knows. You see what I'm saying? Because if you know you working with these tools and these instruments and you doing it in a way that other people ain't doing it, how you gonna let someone tell you don't know what you're talking about? You just give them the opportunity to meet you on that level, or you just know that they not ready yet, okay? So if we know and accept the higher power, frequency, vibes, energy, right? How can we disclaim the appearance in your life? To answer your question, I would say yes. especially in something natural like fire. It's not like, we're talking about like those grilled cheese images where you could have literally just took the grilled cheese and like burn some shit on there yourself and be like, hey, look, it's a painting. I mean, it's a miracle, right? And these are, you guys know I do Photoshop, but these are untouched photos. You know what I'm saying? Let's see here. So that's the cool part about them. So to answer your question, I would say yes, especially in something natural like fire. It's not like we talking about an image on the grilled cheese. Okay, so look at people saying it's 11:11, it's 2:22, it's 4:44. That means something to many, right? Like it's a sign from what, right? So if it's a sign from something to you, then we're talking about appearances, right? If they can sing you a sign and it appears in front of you, then why would people have interference in the connection with them just appearing in front of you and their various abilities to do so, right? Why would that become a thing? Okay. So then the response was, oh no, some are most, or this is me again. Oh no, some are most certainly ill. Remember I was like, yeah, they are. We got to accept that. And this is how we can say that we can help them or not, right? So the point of that part was to just showcase how those who know, because there's two sides to every debate, right? At least two, if not more. And I know you and appreciate your mind talking to them. And I know many others will ask themselves the same questions, but not post in my comments. So I value, your courage to have this discussion with me. It was like I told you earlier. I said, go ahead and post that in the comments. So because of you, they may find a greater understanding, right? So now for the clouds, if you feel connected, you might see that as a message and go research what you saw. Okay? For the meaning, go research what you saw for the meaning, or it may naturally mean something to you based on your experience already. Or it could be there just for your enjoyment and entertainment, right? Like a movie. And I plugged that here. So some watched The Last Dragon back in the day for the kung fu, right? And some saw the representation in that movie of the oppression or the oppressive system using each other, ourselves, to fight each other in an attempt for them to remain in power while we so busy fighting each other and killing each other off that we don't realize that the manipulation and the control factor leaves them at the top. So are the clouds any different than any other movie or documentary? And I put just an example of the infinite equation because you can substitute many different variables in there to showcase that same equation. All right. And then for the book, I put, here's a great resource. Once you get into invoking and evoking, look into the Kabbalistic Encyclopedia. All right. Check it out. So the unique thing about this post was, or this memory coming back, right, is when you get down the mat, there's people that are gonna not see you for who you really are, or what you really are, what you're capable of, and it's because you're dealing with quantum physics, right? You're dealing with something with energy, and their mind is limited to the physical realm, right? When, for example, when you are doing yoga, okay? When you're doing yoga, holding those poses and stretches, holding those poses and positions, stretch the muscles and strengthen the tendons and all that stuff, just like, going to the gym, okay? That's the physical. You work on it, you put the energy in, they build up, they get stronger, you can see that, you feel it, you think, everything's great. That's what people are used to, the physical. This is why when the dog is chasing you in a group of other people, you guys are left wondering how the 300-pound plus quote unquote fat kid outran all the smaller ones. You know what I'm saying? This is why at football practice they line up the same 300-pound lineman as a receiver to run practice, work out the DBs, because he's fast as shit and he got hands too. All he focused on is running the route, catching the ball. He didn't, he don't know that he's supposed to be slow, right? Separate example is how supposedly, frail women or woman can lift a car up to save a child underneath of it. Where to get that strength from, right? They're supposed to be delicate, supposedly, right? So because the spirit world, whatever you call it, will give you the strength when you feel weak, will provide you the speed where you feel slow, will make things light that you once thought were heavy, okay? The irony about this post is, isn't that what the religions claim? That you spend all this time, investment, and money in with them? Isn't this religion? Isn't that what religions claim? Right? Yet, when the spirit world manifests in your life, the gaslighting occurs because many don't want to believe you have that much power in yourself. Because that's what it is, power over yourself. You see, they spent many years worshiping other people, worshiping institutions, saying they don't have the power because I guess they didn't watch He-Man when they grew up. They didn't see him standing in front of Grayskull talking about, "I am by the power of Grayskull," and the lightning come down. He's you know what I'm saying? They missed that part of life, I guess. I don't know. So they don't want to believe or accept that you can have the power that they've been paying 10% or more of everything they earn to a church for 20 years. Get up every Sunday and Wednesday and whatever other day and go sit with people. Listen to the preacher talk for 10 hours, but tell you he ain't got time for you 5 minutes to give them some information, right? They don't want to see that in you because how can you have it and they don't? This is why you see me over the years really focusing on mental health awareness and emotional intelligence, because that's at the root of it all. So it's because, like I said, you get to a certain point, right? You get to a certain point where you're not alone, where you are alone, actually. You're not lonely, but you're alone as far as other humans, your circle's really reduced. And ironically, I know we keep our circles tight. I know why we keep them tight, and I know why we're okay with that. I also know that there's a part of us that would enjoy having the ability to go outside and everybody be in tune. I know you want the same thing. So, going back to the religion, right? It's what it is because you get to that point, you're by yourself, you want to invest in others so they can join you. You're at an uncommonly high level, right? It makes others uncomfortable around you. Like we talked about in a previous video, you're like a microwave. Your frequency is so high, you're cooking them. All right? You try to uplift them so they can match with you, but they don't want to be uplifted. What we know about this realm is that the only things that can interact with each other has to be on the same frequency. So if they don't match your frequency, they don't want to, you can't interact. You can't interact. You can't see what's going on. You can't value that experience. All right. So the irony of this memory, right, is this, right? The irony of this right here is I took this picture over in 2008. Like I said, it came up at 2018, excuse me. You know, it came up as a memory. And this was one of those people that, you know, this is why I don't do titles, because people, I don't know. So they even call themselves your friend, all this stuff, da 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 da. And you know, I'm the type of person, I'm American. I got the Second Amendment all in me, you know what I'm saying? So you know how it is. You got guns, you go shoot, you do things, you target, you train, you do stuff. And the interesting point was, even though I've always offered them to, like, hey, you want to go shoot, you want to go train, you know, bring your family, let's get them right. You know what I'm saying? Like I do many people that, you know, you'll never know because they don't take advantage of it. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, for various reasons. So what happened was he disappears for like 2 years, right? Then he pops up one day, reaches out, and he's like, you know, he has this conversation, and he's explaining how he gave his life to God and became a Christian, quote unquote, you know. And I'm laughing on the inside because I'm like, well, wait till you find out I'm little God. You know what I'm saying? Like, what you running from is little God, but you ain't ready from it. You ain't ready for it. So, but here's the cool part. So he's telling me about how he's Christian and, you know, he gave his life to God and all this transformation of thinking and the way he handles himself. And, you know, one of the things he had to think about was, being a Christian, do you want to have people around you that feel the need to carry guns? Right? And I'm like, damn. You know, like, okay, that's interesting thought process. I know down in certain states you could actually carry your gun in church now. You know what I mean? So okay, if that's how you're gonna say justify your absence. You know what I mean? That's cool. I see you put a lot of thought into that, right? So the cool part is that's their story they had. And honestly, if you around weaponry, you know there's gonna be people in your life that be like, I don't want to be around you because, you know, why you always got that with you, or what happens, or whatever, you know. So whatever, let them go. So because when the shit go down, you know, the Most High told you to have yours for a reason. They gonna be looking for you again. Like, oh man, where is he at now? I wish I hadn't, right? But here's the point. What was interesting about it is because I was looking at that situation like, why would you be more afraid to know someone has a gun than knowing they have such a deep connection with the spirit, angels, demons, God, devil world, whatever you want to call it? You see, the thing is, they can physically, remember we were talking about what's in the physical, the flesh versus the non-flesh. See, they can physically see you with the gun. They can even see that in their mind. They can even physically see you in their mind with the gun. And they can be like, oh shit, I don't know how I feel about that. Or I'm afraid of that, or whatever they're gonna say, right? However, they can't physically, see you having that power over yourself where you can communicate and connect with the non-physical. You see what I'm saying? So they'll tell you that, oh, you know, you carrying guns and stuff, this, that, and the other, and make it about that, not even realizing that the spirit world is more powerful because they ain't even gotta see you coming. You ain't even gotta be in the same time zone or state. You can send the energy around the world. So it was just kind of, that was the irony of it. When I got the Facebook memory, I was like, the person where I was at when I took this and was asking me about the entity and stuff in the photo was more afraid of me having a gun than he was me being connected with the spirit world. And that was only because they don't see it. You see what I'm saying? So when you look at the people around you, you gotta look at it. You gotta look at it like that. You know, they're not gonna want to go and see you at the level that you're on, and because of that, they will never see their self having the same ability. All right. Excuse the technical difficulty. I guess this was powerful message. So, hopefully you carried over from the first part. Go back and watch the gap, whatever. You know how it goes sometime. Pasha Paroh. You got to realize that we're still in this important time. Before I go, I'll say this: we're still in this important time period. Where if you did the work with the eclipse on yourself, you're getting bombarded with a lot of answers right now. Okay, and the reason you're getting bombarded with a lot of answers is because, one, you may have asked yourself a question, but that eclipse was definitely the time period to ask the right questions so that you can get the solutions for a lot of things. And if you utilize that energy correctly, you're being bombarded with a lot of feedback right now. Okay? Know that that's not coincidence. All right? Pasha Paroh Y Net 7. Thank you for tuning. I'm gonna see if I can splice this video together for you so it runs concurrently. Otherwise, just work with the 2 parts. All right, go back and watch the first part. It was kind of short in comparison because it dropped out for a moment. I think it dropped out. It may still be going. I don't know what happened. I just came back live, restarted it, and we're here. So we'll figure that out afterwards. But if you caught this one first so that it makes sense, go back and watch the first part. They'll both be present, okay? Pasha Paroh Y Net 7. Thank you for tuning.